to the Saturday Night Swirl with your host, Roadrunner89. Hope you enjoy. All right, welcome to tonight's show. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Tonight's show, I came up with tonight's show and something that's on my mind and something I need to talk about. Tonight's show is going to be a loving show. It's going to be positive as I can make it. Okay? Anybody. We're going to talk about love for and from the black woman, okay, to heal our nation. And I believe this. Some people might say, Roadrunner, you're crazy. But seriously, I think the more love we show towards black women and the love we receive from black women, and I'm talking about our whole nation, I think that would be a blessing. I think that would heal our nation. We're never going to be perfect, but I do believe this. I do believe there's something spiritual going on, okay? And I believe God will judge us how we treat women in our nation, in our communities, okay? That goes for all women. But when you look at black women, you look at black femicide and all the evil stuff that's going on and what's happening to black women. Okay? I believe God is, a loving God, but a God that is a judge too. And we're going to be held accountable. Okay? I'm going to talk about a little bit about my life, what I see, okay, and why I feel this way. And I'm going to talk about what's going on, and I'm going to talk to black women, okay, and talk to you about Swirling, to investment. I'm going to talk to white men. If you're pursuing black women, okay, you want to date and have a relationship with a black woman, okay, nothing's wrong with that. That's a beautiful thing. But there are some things you got to know. There are some things you're going to be faced with, okay? And many times it ain't going to be easy, okay? But there is a blessing, okay? You're going to have to fight that good fight to be with a black woman, okay? And you're not going to be the preference, okay? Black women overwhelmingly choose black men, okay? And don't let that scare you, because I know, because here's the thing, most people go with their own race, okay? Why? Because they're familiar with people within their community, people that look like them, okay? And you're going to get less attacks, you're going to get less scrutiny when you stay with your own race, okay? And, you know, a lot of people don't want to get out of their comfort zone, okay? A lot of people are afraid to open up their options, okay? But some of us are meant to open up our options. Some of us, I don't believe we really choose our destiny, okay? We do have choices along the way, and we can easily make the wrong choice, okay? And it could be disastrous. But I do believe there's a God. I do believe we have a destiny, and if we follow God's path, we're going to be okay. Things are going to work out, okay? Some people are meant to marry within their own race. Some people are meant to open up their options, okay? I don't believe things just happen. I believe there's a purpose for everything, okay? And what I've been saying lately is I've been saying date like your life depended on it. Okay, we all need to do this. Okay, and we need to go where we're loved and celebrated, not tolerated. Okay, in my opinion, we need to look at it more as an individual thing. What's the best option for you? Okay, and a lot of variables are in this. Attraction, if you're compatible, do you have the same values, the same morals? Are you a man or woman of faith? These are things you got to look into before you get in a relationship. Okay? And, hey there, Chris. Good to see you, brother. And there's things you got to look at. Okay? Look, and when it comes to swirling, it's an exciting thing. Opening up your options, dating somebody that's different, okay? And that, you know, spikes our curiosity, okay? And there's that fear factor in there too. But people are opening up their options now more than ever, okay? And as it becomes more of a norm, shows like Swirling and stuff, I think it's going to lose its steam a little bit, okay? But more people will do it, okay? If you look, you don't see many white men going on and, you know, talking about, hey, you need to date white women, they're great, wonderful. You never see that, right? But most white men date and marry are white women, right? A lot of white men are opening up their options to Hispanic women. Been doing that for years. And Asian women, right? They're looking for something new. But they don't go out there and say, Asian women are great. You don't have channels like that. Okay? And I think it's because it's become such a norm and it's so easy to do. Okay? It's easy to open up your options to a different ethnicity. Where the issue still is black and white. Okay? And why is that? Okay? And I think about that all the time. Why do us white men gotta fight so hard to be with the black woman? Okay? And I don't want to scare nobody and think black women won't date you. They will. There's a lot that will. Don't let what you hear on social media and stereotypes scare you from opening up your options. Okay? And look, I've talked to white men that would love to date black women, but just don't think they have a chance. And maybe it's because they see some black woman saying that all she wants to be with is the black man. Okay? But it's not every black woman. All right? But here's the thing, black women are amazing. Black women are that, what I call that hidden treasure. Okay? And you hear me say that term. What is the hidden treasure? If you don't understand what I'm talking about the black woman. Okay? The black woman, if you get to know her, okay? And look, not every black woman's the same. Not every black woman's going to love you. There are good and bad in every group, okay? But overall, I found black women to be a blessing. I found black women to have a big heart. I found black women to be loving, nurturing, okay, and very loyal. Okay, we say black women are love loyal, or that's what I say, right? We say black women are the most race loyal, right? I believe it's actually black women are the most love loyal. Okay? Because regardless whether a black woman's in love with a black man, white man, Asian man, when she's in love, she's going to give you everything. Okay? Um, and black women are amazing. They tend to uplift people around them more than themselves a lot of times. Okay? And that's a blessing. Okay? Black women have a big heart. It's a blessing and it can be a curse. Okay? And I want to talk about that a little later. Okay? But before I move on, I'm going to tell you why I have a preference for black women. Why I believe black women are the best option. And I don't sit around thinking, oh, this group of people is better than this group and that group's. I don't do that. Okay? Based on my experience, based on the stats I looked at, I'm finding out that black women, for us white men, are the best option. Okay? I know there's nuances in different areas, and people come up with these segregated studies to fit their narrative. But overall, if you average out all the studies and the data, you're going to find out black women and white men are the best option for each other. They were 50 years ago and they are today. So don't give me that crap. That study was 50 years ago. Shut up. Okay? It's still true as it was then. In fact, it's getting better. Okay? All right. But here's the thing. Black women, white men are the least likely to get together, to get married, to have a family together. But the numbers are increasing every day. I call it the avalanche effect. Okay, if you ever heard me say that, and the reason I say the avalanche effect is because it builds slowly. And one day, it's going to be an avalanche. One day it's going to hit us so hard we're going to be like, wow. And one day, you mark my words, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And look, you look at how marriage rates are dropping in the black community and marriage rates are increasing interracially. There's going to come a time when there are more white men married to black women than black men married to black women. Call me crazy. I don't care. I'm telling you, I believe this to be true. Okay? But anyway, I'm going to share my life story. And people tell me, people go in on me about this and say, Roadrunner, okay, you love black women, but, they think it's wrong because when I started dating as a teenager, I opened up my options from the get go. I dated exclusively black women. I'm married to a black woman. And no matter what people think of it being crazy and wrong, that I'm supposed to, I guess, just love all women equally, right? And have a equal opportunity dating thing, but it don't work that way in relationships. We're very particular what we want. Okay? Everybody has their preferences, their standards, what they want in a woman, and and it goes beyond looks. It goes with character, personality, how you feel around that person, their morals, their faith. There's so many things. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, I made these cartoon pictures, and I made them before, and this represents my life story. Okay? And I'm going to go through it quick because you've heard it a number of times, right? And my life story ain't what this show's about. It's a little piece of the show. Okay? And I'm explaining why black women are my preference. Why I didn't want to date no other group of women. Okay? And it wasn't a fetish. It wasn't a sexual desire or lustful thing. Okay? I fell in love with a black woman before I could ever desire her. Okay? That's the honest to God truth. I prayed for a black wife before I was ever intimate with a black woman. So it wasn't a sexual thing. A black woman didn't do something to me to get me black woman crazy. I keep saying, because people tell me that. Oh, well, some black woman must have got a hold of you, and now you're... That's people's made up story about me. And, oh my God. I had to write a book about all the made up stories about me. It's crazy, right? People got big imaginations. Okay? And this is where it started, okay? Now, I love black women, and I don't hate myself. I don't hate white people. I'm not trying to be black by no means. I love who I am, and I don't want to change who I am. Okay? I just happen to love black women. Black women have touched my heart, okay? And yes, you can love yourself and your family and open up your options. I don't know why people think it's all self-hate. Now, maybe if I just come out just blasting white women, calling them garbage every day and, for no reason, and, okay, you might think that might make sense, okay? But if I'm just saying I love black women, now there are times when I call out some white women. Okay, you heard me call out Becky Spade, but that just makes the whole white community look bad. Lusting after a group of men, fetishizing, even though you don't get called out for it. Us white men do. Just if we say black women are beautiful, or they got beautiful hair, oh my God, he's fetishizing. And I'm not exaggerating this. It seems silly, right? But that's... Okay, and I think it is what's going on. I think black women and white men are meant to be together. Not all, but a lot more are than are right now. And I think things are happening. Okay? And look, when I got married to my wife Sandy, it's like doors just flew open. Okay? And it wasn't perfect, okay? Me and my wife, we're people. We have our issues, our ups and downs, Sometimes things happen in life we got to deal with, right? But me and my wife have always loved each other more than our problems, okay? And even when we're in our worst time, we're still in a beautiful time together. It's everything always worked out. Okay, and I can't even believe how blessed I am. Okay, and let me tell you, I was sitting listening to music, and I prayed a little bit, and I started thinking back in my life. Okay, and I've always had a strong feeling for black women as a child. And growing up, I always thought black women are amazing and beautiful. Okay, and I was thinking back about that because people tell me they tell me at work, they say, look, you love black women, I get it, that's wonderful, but other women can love you too. You can have a good relationship with a white woman, an Asian woman, Hispanic. Why are you so focused on black women? Okay, and they're right. They're you can find love in any group. Okay, but is it meant to be? See, in my situation, I believe I was meant to be with a black woman, and as a child and growing up, even my parents said, we knew you were going to marry a black woman. They didn't even stand in the way. Okay, and my father was very strict, very disciplined. And he was so harsh that when I finally graduated high school and got out of the house, I kind of went on a wild streak because I was, you know what I mean? Um, but he did it for a reason. He didn't want me to make any mistakes. But when it come to having girlfriends that were black, there was never a problem, except for one moment. And I'm going to explain what happened there. Okay, and he was right to feel how he did, and he was trying to protect me. Okay, like a father would try to protect his son. Okay, but here's where the foundation of my life and my love for black women. Okay, and I don't love black women because I'm a preference to them. I am not. Okay, I understand the truth. Okay, I don't love black women because they love me. I love them because of the beautiful women they are, the character they have. And there have been black women in my life that have loved me with all their heart, and it's been beautiful. Okay, but this is where it started, and I'm going to give you a quick review. Okay, and I share this. Okay, and when I got to thinking, because I was thinking, well, I just happen to love black women. No, there's a reason. Okay, it didn't just happen. I didn't just wake up one morning and say black women are my preference. Okay, it didn't happen that way. It happened gradually. Okay, all right, and okay, fair use. Okay, let me get this picture up here. Okay, I talk about my babysitter when I was little. Okay, and I was about 4 or 5, and I tried to make the cartoon look like the young lady in the time, like the 70s. Okay, when I was little, and yes, I had blonde hair. My hair was white. Okay, and my hair has changed color through the years, and in my family, we're born blonde and our hair gets darker. That's just genetics. Okay, a lot of white people are like that. Okay, but that's how I looked. Had bright blonde hair, big brown eyes. My eyes, well, they're hazel, brown and green. Okay. When I was little, they looked more brown. Now they're more green. It's weird. Okay. Um, but my babysitter, a young lady, she was a teenager, and you know, as a child, you tend to bond with people that are nice to you, that are kind to you, right? And people say, well, Roadrunner, come on now. Of course, they're going to be nice to you because you're a child. They think children are cute, and and yeah, that's true. But I had a bond, and I still have a lot of love for this young lady. I don't know whatever happened to her. I don't know if she's even alive. Um, But I had true love for her. And look, when you're 4 and 5 and you're smaller than most children, you're a little guy, and she calls you big guy and gives you candy, won me over, right? And you could say that was like a confidence build. Okay, you're a child then. Um, but believe it or not, little things like that mean something. And as a child, you embrace that, and I I remember as a child, I felt there was love there. Okay, and it had an impact. Okay, and my mother. See, I lived with my father, and my parents were teenagers, so my father took care of me. But I would go spend time with my mother, and she was working, so she'd have, there's a family there, teenage daughter, so she'd babysit me. And my mom would pay her some money. She paid her extra because I was so well behaved with her, and I look forward to seeing her, every time I see my mother, okay? But, so that was there, okay? All right? Now, in high school, okay, I had a girlfriend that, look, my grades weren't that good in high school, okay? And I talk about it, okay? And my enemies love to use it against me. When I say I had to turn my life around, my reading level was low when I graduated, they try to say that I just can't read now, I'm just a walking idiot. That's what they say, okay? But my thing is I seen a fault I had and I fixed it, okay? And that's called self-correction, okay? But it started with this young lady, my girlfriend in high school, okay? And this young lady was really reserved, okay? She was very smart, you know. Uh, she was gifted. I mean, and I was the opposite. Okay, I didn't take school serious, and she did, and having that influence change started to put a change in my life. Started getting me to look at life differently. Okay, this isn't a young lady I just went out and approached. She was quiet, kept to herself. Some people would say she's a nerd, but she was beautiful. She was little and cute, right? But very smart. And in biology class, we were having to dissect the frog, and she didn't want to do it, so I'm like, yeah, I'll do whatever. And we started joking and laughing. We became friends, and that became my girlfriend, right? And I knew that's what I. She touched my heart in a way that I just felt happy to be around her. Okay, when you get in the things you're interested in junior high are different when you get to high school, because you get to high school, there's girls and you want to be cool, and all that stuff you liked in middle school, it's not cool anymore. But she was into that stuff. I remember we watched Star Trek together, and I was like, this is great. And I had some old comics I saved, and she was into that. And we were doing like kids stuff and having fun with it, being ourselves. And she would come over on the weekend. We'd watch movies, and sometimes work on a book report, and and my parents loved her because she was so smart, and I think they felt that that would be a good influence on me, right? Um, and my grades improved drastically. I started taking school serious. I started thinking, you know what? I'm really going nowhere fast, and it wasn't that I was dumb in high school. I was just lazy. Okay, and I never thought about my future till afterwards, right? But I started changing during this time. Okay, and we we were so close. We were talking about getting married after high school, and we had plans and dreams. And but one weekend she was supposed to come over, and one of my dusty friends said, "Well, hey man, let's go out this weekend. Uh, my girlfriend has a friend, and we're going." And he said, "Look, I know you like her, but she won't know. Just come with us. We'll have fun. Just one night, right?" And I thought, okay. I told her I gotta go see my mom because she knew my, I my mother and father were separated, so I'd spend time with my mother and father. She knew that, so I thought, okay, she going by it. No harm, no foul. She won't know. Well, she found out. Now, this other girl, I didn't mess with. I didn't even feel right. I didn't even want to be there. But I damaged the trust we had. And she was smart enough to know that what I did was wrong and it's best to leave me alone. Okay? But through the time, I had so much guilt. I know I messed up. I knew. And I carried that guilt for several years. Recently I bumped into her and I apologized. Like, why you apologize? We were kids back then. Things happened. She didn't really. She said, "Yeah, you hurt my feelings, but I always thought you were a good guy. I always prayed for you." And she went our separated, got married, and then I did, and she married a white guy. So maybe, but this is where I messed up, and it took me learning my lesson. Okay, but I did feel so bad, and I probably people I talked to, my closest friends, they told me, they said, "You're taking this too far. You got to move on." Okay, if you ever see her again, ask her for forgiveness, but you got to forgive yourself and move on, right? But see, and at the time, my life was changing. I was getting into church. I was getting into my faith. I was changing. Okay. Now I was back and forth. I was a hot mess still, but I was looking for a solution. Okay, but that ended up it didn't. That ended. Um, but after high school, I got with this woman, and my father was not. And I didn't make a cartoon picture of her. My father was like, "Son, I don't know. I don't like this." And I was like, "Well," and I seen the red flags. I knew it was, I needed to stay, but I was so into her, I didn't care. Okay? And I just destroyed everything I had built within my church and changing my life. Um, and my parents were not happy with that at all. You don't live with a woman that's not your wife. But I did. I thought, this is what I want, and I can change her. And yeah, okay, it's wrong now, but we'll make it right. It didn't work. Okay, and the woman I was with was very abusive. And this is why I say don't date pro black women. I tell white men don't do it. Okay, because and the reason is because I did this, and you know, it was like she loved me but hated me. Okay, I couldn't be woke enough. I couldn't understand her enough. I couldn't be emotional enough for her, and so I would be attacked, and it was like a back and forth. And she would actually hit me, right? I never laid hands on her. I never laid hands on a woman, period. I was just raised, we don't do that, okay? And anyway, to make a long story short, it turned out I had to leave. I had to get away from her for someone I wanted to be with so bad, it turned out I wanted to get away because it was so hurtful. She made me feel like I was garbage, and it was so depressing. And I came back home, and my father, I thought he was going to just beat it into me how I messed up. He didn't, you know. I felt more attacked at church when I came in. Everybody knew what I did, and they knew I wasn't living the Christian life. And I felt like the woman in the Bible that was about to be stoned. Like, I'm guilty, and it's shameful, and I really didn't want to be there. But my dad said, "You got to go back. You got to get back to God." So I did. That was painful. Oh my God. People talked about me. They just, disappointment, the shame. And before I messed up, they were uplifting me, giving me praise. Boy, I messed that up. And the preacher preached about the woman in the Bible that was about to be stoned, and Jesus said, "He who has no sin casts the first stone." I felt like her at church. And at home, and he also preached on the prodigal son. Oh my God, I felt it was all about me. And at home, it was like I was a prodigal son. My family was happy to have me back. And my father was not judgmental. And I don't know why he was so lenient on me. I guess maybe he seen the hurt in me. And he told me, he said, "Son, you got a big heart. And that is your strength, and it is your weakness. Okay?" He said, "You gave it to the wrong woman." And I thought about that. And sometimes things resurface when you relive your life and what went on. And I kind of thought about black women, and I thought, I see black women out there that have a big heart. I see black women that give their love to the men they love. And so many times they get with the wrong man, and he exploits her, takes advantage of her heart. But when a black woman finds the right man, it's a blessing. She brings out the best in him, and they both benefit. Well, that was my story. I gave my heart to the wrong woman. She was a black woman, but it just, we weren't meant to be, and it wasn't really love. But that made me realize that I had to take it serious. And when I found my wife Sandy, I gave my love to her, and that was strength. And you ever wonder why? People will tell me, they say, Roadrunner, I love when you say nice things about black women, you're uplifting. Some women have told me that they'll watch my videos when they're feeling down to feel better. And that's what I want to do. I want to uplift people, right? And some of my enemies use that against me. "Oh, you're pandering. You just, the only reason they watch your show is because you say nice things, and that's all they want to do is hear nice things." And I thought, okay, that's fine. And you find out why other people do social media. They kind of tell them themselves. I had this joker been harassing me for a long time. And because he don't believe like I do, whatever. But saying black women don't like you, you're middle-aged, and talk about how I look. And I'm like, I'm not here. It's not about what black women think about me, how I look, and whatever. It's about showing love to people. It's about sharing my story. And I do want to uplift black women. I do want them to feel good. I do want them to know how beautiful and amazing they are. And it, and that's all I want to do. And all I might look for is give me a couple likes on a video. That's enough. You know? And I just see so much hurt with black women. And I think about my life and like, wow, sometimes you have so much in common. And I think with black women that I've been around, I've had a lot of things in common. Raised traditional. Me and Sandy are both, you know, of faith. We're both Christian, right? We were raised in Christian families. We share the same faith. Me and Sandy are traditional. We wanted the same things in life. It just aligned just right. Um, the only difference we really have is our skin tone. Really, that's basically all it is. You know, but anyway, but after I went through that heartbreak, people were rude to me, people were judgmental at church, right? And I did do wrong. I did deserve some humiliation, sure. Okay, I'm not, this ain't a pity party on what I went through. I deserved everything I got, okay? But there was one woman at church. It was a middle-aged black woman, okay? And this woman, she's no longer, she passed on. She lived to be like 92, okay? But she was really into God, a woman of faith. And when people were, I guess she could see I was hurt. And she gave me encouragement. And this sticks with me to this day. She asked me, what's wrong? Everything's going to be okay. And I was like, I messed up. She says, we all mess up. But God has a plan for you. It's going to be all right. And she was the only one at that time. Now people forgive me down the road, but that was just something I needed at the time. And it was amazing. And these black women I talk about really impacted my life. And you wonder why black women are my preference. It's not, look. Anyway, but that was so uplifting. It gave me hope. You know, I still, in shame, I still was heartbroken what I did. But she was talking about God still has a plan. There's forgiveness. Now, what God had planned for me before I messed up, that's gone. I messed that up. But there's other things God has for me. Okay? But anyway, this is very impactful. Okay? And you know, I got it together and I learned a lot. When I got out of that horrible relationship, for a while I didn't date any women. I just was, you know, I came home. I spent time with my little brother and we went and watched baseball games. I just got busy. And, you know, I started helping my dad do yard work, which used to be a punishment. But, you know, I started seeing things different. And sometimes you got to have your face in the mud to realize where you messed up, where you can do self-correction, where you can do better. Okay? And, you know, time went by. I met my wife, Sandy. Okay, and I made this cartoon of me and Sandy. You know, we're at the Army Ball. And we went to the Army Ball twice and had an awesome time, right? You get in your dress uniform and the women get in a dress, and it's a formal thing. And me and my wife did that. We love doing that, right? And you know, but looking back, these women in my life led me to my wife. So who cares who I was dating and what happened? Point is I found a wife uh, that loves me. I got a good wife. I got a good family. I've been blessed. And let me tell you about my wife. She has always put me first. She had faith in me when I never had faith in myself. She made me believe there was stuff I could do. She gave me hope through her faith, her love. There was a time when, and I tell you this story with my youngest daughter, I almost lost my wife when she was giving birth. And you know what? She was sick. She wasn't doing well. And she was so worried about me. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. And they kicked me out and they took her in emergency surgery to get the baby out because she was going into cardiac arrest. And I asked the doctor, is everything okay? He said, it don't look good. And they run me out of there. My oldest daughter and my son are there. They're like, Dad, where's Mom? Where's our sister? And I broke down. I got so emotional. I couldn't control it. And my poor kids, they saw me and then they started crying and they knew something was wrong, even though I tried to act like there's not, but I couldn't control it. Because I knew the woman I prayed for my whole life, my wife, my blessing. I didn't know if I was going to lose her. But I tell you, whatever pain she was in, she worried about me more than herself. But anyway, and I make these cartoons and I don't know why my life is so good. I don't know why I'm so blessed. Do I deserve it? No, I don't. But I thank God for my blessings. Okay? And the reason I say these things, the reasons I share this, is to let you know that there are men like myself that love black women. We see the beauty, we see the blessing in black women. We see the black woman as a treasure. Of course, they'll tell you it's because of lust and a fetish and all this other nonsense. But I tell you, and I knew, being with a black woman would be great and wonderful and amazing. But I never knew the love would be so good. I never knew that I would be loved so much. And a lot of times we don't experience that because we're too afraid. We're too afraid to get out of our comfort zone. We're too afraid what people will think. Well, I love black women too much to worry about what people think. I love black women too much to sit in my comfort zone and be with women that look like me. And nothing against women that look like me, not at all. It's just black women impacted my life as a child. And I look back at it, why was it black women? Why did it happen this way? It could have been a bunch, 4 white women that showed me that love. Or Hispanic women. but as black women. And I wasn't around a lot of black people. And I just, it is God's will that this happened. And I believe it's the reason it happened is because God knew what I needed in my life. And I always thought, okay, well, God is so amazing. He knows what I need. He gave me a good wife, but He knows I love black women, so He gave me a black wife. So God's given me what I need and what I want also. But did God show me how amazing and beautiful black women are so I'd fall in love with black women? Anyway, okay. But I'm telling you, and if you ask me, what do you love about black women? I could talk all night. And it'll flow like a raging river. Yeah, and you know, when I came on YouTube, I was inspired. There was this guy on YouTube, right? A white guy. Um, his name was Cohen Namek, right? And I was going through YouTube and I heard him talking about black women, you know, and he did some video on how black women, how they walk and dress, and he was talking about some guy that loved black women but trying to hide it. And I was like, wow, you know what? I gravitated towards that because in my life, I've always loved black women. I dated black women. And so I thought, okay, so I would watch his channel, okay? And, you know, there was some other white guys that would say how amazing black women are. And then I started seeing swirling channels, black women talking about dating white men. I was like, man, this is great. Um, but and I would have shows with these people. I remember Cohen. I reached out to him and said, you know what? I've been married to a black woman several years, and I like your show, and it's an inspiration, and you know. And at the time I reached out, I was doing some videos, and you know, I was just starting to do live streams, and you know, it was nice, and he was a nice guy. He was kind to me and my wife. We talked, and he did an interview, and you know, and I did a live show with a panel talking to him, and but sometimes you got to break contact with people, and I started making videos about sexual situations with black women, and you know, and I can't do that. I'm a Christian. We don't. I don't ever talk about black women in a sexual way. The only time I talk about sex is I say you should wait till marriage. Okay. Um, and I've had to break ties with white men, and you know, there's an Asian guy because they want to talk about sexual with black women, and that's not what my channel is. You know, and I lost some followers because I'm not going to do that. That's just disrespectful to black women. That would be disrespectful to my wife. It's just not right. Okay, but you don't get all. You know, and most of the men on my channel were respectful and understood why I didn't go there. Right. You know, it wouldn't be right, and it'd be a bad look because we're already accused about fetishizing. If we're talking about sexual things, you know, and there's another guy I supported and helped him build his channel, and he started going in the sexual thing. And I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to disrespect black women for views or to be popular, or you know, and these guys come and go. And I just, I just, yeah. I think the only one real I seen was Cup of Joe 20. He 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 really loved black women, and he's married to a black woman, has a biracial child, and that's the only one I seen that was real. I like Cohen, nothing against him, but I'm like, where's your girlfriend? Where's your wife? Yeah, and I don't like fake swirlers. I don't like, and I don't know his life. I'm not saying he's fake, but didn't see it online. Okay, he was a good guy, but I just, when it comes to swirling, when it comes to black women, I don't like fake. I hate fake white men because it just, you're destroying a blessing, and it's like, but I've seen that, and back in the day, you would get a lot of views. Okay, it's not as popular as it was, but um, interracial relationships are growing. Maybe people are just okay, swirl, swirl. It's great. Um, but for me, swirl to investment isn't just a YouTube channel. It's my life. You know, and I would love to see more white men come up and do channels about swirling, about interracial marriage, about how much they love black women. I want to see it so much, but I want realness. I want, they have their wife. And maybe that's why I get crazy. And I'm protective of black women. Some people, I know kind of get irritated because I'm brutally honest sometimes. Sometimes I tell you my faith, being conservative. I know people didn't like that, and I lost some people. And that's okay. I'm not, look, I want to be real. I don't want to be fake. But one thing I'm real about is my love for black women. I've been married 32 years. I've never changed. And I just wonder, those that are into this world, that love black women, were they there when it wasn't popular? Were they there when you stood with that black woman and you had these dusties try to step up on you because they're stupid? And you have to put them in their place? I mean, that happens. Are you crazy enough to be with a black woman? And I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just saying, do you have the courage to be with her? Do you have the courage to defend her and yourself? Because people do not like it. You know, I, I've I've had to get rid of so-called friends, a couple family members. Okay, and I'll tell you a story. And this happened about 20 years ago. I was in the Army at the time. Okay, I was living in Colorado Springs. Okay, Colorado, stationed at Fort Carson. Okay, and at that time I was married for about 10 years. At that time, I hit my 10-year mark. Well, my little brother was getting married. Right, he he met a woman in Alabama, and so and he was getting married, so we took a trip to Alabama. Okay, and it was me, my wife Sandy, my oldest daughter, my son and youngest daughter. My mother-in-law watched them while we went to the wedding, but our oldest daughter went, and as me, Sandy, my oldest daughter, my dad and my stepmother, we all drove, right? And we took my dad's SUV and we drove from Colorado Springs, Colorado to Birmingham, Alabama, straight through without. We were only stopped for gas and food. Me and my dad took turns driving, right? Never do that again. That was crazy. But when we got there, right? My brother's getting married, and we met my brother. I met my brother's fiance. She was a nice lady. Her family was nice. It was all wonderful, right? My stepmother, her brother lived out there, right? My stepmother's from Florida, but her younger brother lived in Alabama, so she got to see her brother and his family and kids, and we all got together. And and then we went back home, and I was asking my stepmother, so how's it with your brother and stuff? How's it going? You know, and she's like, yeah, it was all right. And come to find out, her younger brother didn't want nothing to do with my stepmother because of me and Sandy and our biracial daughter. So my stepmother had to cut ties with her younger brother because her stepson is married to a black woman. Sometimes stuff like happen. I know it was heartbreaking, but she did what she felt was right. She cut him off because she wasn't going to deal with that. But you know, and sometimes people and will cast you out. Sometimes because of who you're with, who you love. You know, and are you willing to stand up to that? What if it? And here's the thing: if anybody had any problem with my wife, I don't care who it is. It could be mother, father, brother, the people I love the most, I'll cut them out. Because my wife is the most important person in my family. There wasn't a lot of people swirling back in the day when it wasn't popular, were they? And even my time went through some things. So when I see people cosplaying down with the swirl, when I see people that aren't really down with the swirl, that really pisses me off, and it's wrong. Because where were you when it wasn't popular? And could you stand alongside a black woman? Could you marry a black woman and deal with whatever hate comes your way? And it's not just from white people. There are black people that'll hate on you for it too. I'm just saying. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to fight the good fight to be with a black woman. Yeah, it's easier than it was in the 60s, sure. Yeah, more people are more accepting, sure, and that's beautiful. But you're still going to have to fight the good fight. So for me, if it ain't real, I don't want to talk to you. If you down with a swirl, but you've never had a black girlfriend or nothing like that, unless you say, you know what, I've never done it, but I would like to open up my options, that's fine. But those that pretend like they've done it and never have, and I don't like fake divestors too. There's been some of them that claim they're into that, but have never been with a white man. That actually only like black men. But to get some views, to get some popularity, mislead people that want to be with that group that they believe in. And you can't be a fence rider. But anyway, okay, enough of that. Enough of my ranting. Okay. Hey, what do you guys think about this song? I'm trying to make a song for my channel. Okay, and I was messing around with AI. Where you can like make a song. You put in the words and they get the genre of music and they turn it into a song. And I was trying to do a swirl to investment one. That's kind of this ain't the final. This is like a prototype. But listen to this. What do you think? And I want the song to be like a R&B type vibe. Kind of like a slow song. I think it would be better with a woman's voice. But let me know what you think.
Swirl to investment is on the rise. Open up your options. Invest in the black woman.
What do you guys think about that? That's just a little, just kind of messing around. You know how some people have like theme songs? Um, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Should it be slow like that or should it be more upbeat? I just thought that would be the right. And the woman's voice in there is, pleasant. I don't know. What do you think? We'll play it one more time.
Ooh, yeah. Swirl to investment is on the rise. Open up your options. Invest in the black woman.
I thought it sounded neat, but I need to tweak the lyrics. I just was messing around, typed it in there. Um, I don't know, but anyway, just an idea I came up with. But I put this picture on it. Gives that interracial loving vibe, taking your swirl to investment. Anyway, okay. All right, now that I've talked and ranted and complained okay. I'm going to show you some videos of some black women talking. And if you're going to open up your options, you got to be ready for this. Okay? You're going to be in that if you're a white man that dates black women, you're going to be in that white man catch 22. And I'm telling you. And if you're not ready for it, oh my god. Okay, but don't let it discourage you. Just keep fighting the good fight and be the best man you can be. Okay? All right? And you'll find black women that love you, I promise. They're not all just pro black man and nothing else. Okay? And don't worry about the numbers. You know, Look, I don't have to be the preference. I just know black women are the best option, and I got a good wife, so mission accomplished. You know what I mean? I was looking for a wife. I wasn't looking for validation or a body count like some of these jokers on YouTube do. But anyway, okay. Let me show you some of these videos, okay? I'll show you this one. Some I might not go all the way through. I just want to hit a point and then talk about it, okay?
On the idea.
Okay. She's going to talk about interracial relationships, her opinion, okay? And I don't agree with what she says, but that's okay. Everybody has a right to their opinion, okay? Free speech, okay? But this is what you're going to be faced with, white men. There are black women that do not like you because you're white, okay? I'm just being honest. But that's okay. There's ones out there that will love you, okay? But anyway, let's hear what this young lady has to say.
Last week, I was asked to speak on the idea that interracial dating is being pushed in media as an agenda by the white race to normalize dating among the different races in order to preserve their populations. Basically, this creator put out a video that stated that the white race is in a state of panic because their numbers are dwindling. And so, in order to maintain their populations, they're recognizing the need to procreate with melanated people.
Okay, I call bullshit on this. Actually, most white people don't give two shits about the population of white people. Okay? And white people aren't trying to preserve our race with melanated people. Okay? The reason white men or white women will get with black people is because that's who they want to be with. Okay? I didn't marry a black woman so I could keep the race alive, because when you procreate with someone that's not white, your kids are no longer white in the so-called white supremacy deal, okay? Um, the white supremacists are not looking to procreate with melanated people. That's a damn lie, okay? White people aren't having as many children because they're focused on money, their career, and they're more concerned about making money. And they don't want to have 15 kids. They maybe have one or two. Okay? And truth be told, the black community, their numbers are going down drastically. They're not having as many children. Why? Because children cost money. Okay? You know, and marriage in the black community is really low, so there's a lot of black women don't want to have kids out of wedlock. They're focused on their career and moving ahead. Okay? We're not dying out because we're white. We're just having less kids because of the economic situation. The world's different. Back in the day, everybody was farmers, so you had a bunch of kids to help out with the farm, to grow your food. Today, you know, it's so expensive to have children. People are only having one or two. You know? And some people just don't want to have kids. It's not because they can't. Okay? This argument that white people are pushing an interracial agenda to save their race is a damn lie. Because white supremacy don't look at biracial children as white. Okay? They don't want that to happen. Okay? The people that are procreating with black people are the ones that are okay with having black people in their family. That's what it is. I know you don't like interracial relationships. I know you want it to be all segregated and black only, but the world is changing. Okay? We're not trying to save ourselves by procreating with black people to create white people. How's it? And all this rhetoric, I don't even... It's weird. It's like, you know, I've had pro-black people, okay, and I'm not talking about black people that love black people. I'm talking about the black people that are so pro they hate white people. They're the ones I'm talking about. And I've had them tell me, like, okay, get with a black woman. Delete yourself. Have children with a black woman. Oh, get with as many black women as you want because you'll disappear. I've had them tell me that. And then on the flip side, I've had people say, well, you're procreating with black women to save your race. Like, what? This is so stupid. Look, my brother is a white man like me. He's got a white wife and he has children. They're able to procreate just like I am with a black woman. Where do they get this propaganda stuff? I mean, that's playing in the white supremacy. I mean, come on. It's the catch-22. Okay, if you're not married to a black person, it's because you're racist. And if you are married to a black person, it's because you're dying out and you're trying to use black people to keep the white race going. Like, what the hell are these people smoking? Damn, what kind of drugs you on? Oh my God. Let's continue.
Now, here's the thing. Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh and Neely Fuller back in the 70s and 80s had a lot to say about global white supremacy, interracial dating, and and the connections between maintaining those types of relationships and furthering the structure of global white supremacy. One of the things that they said was that unless you understand, racism and global white supremacy, anything else you try to understand will only serve to confuse you. And so, right now, I'm going to attempt to wade through some of the misunderstanding and also to make a more salient point about about relationships, about procreation, and things of that nature. All right, so first of all, there is a fear among white Americans especially that that their numbers are dropping and that these declining birth rates will give minority groups a chance to overtake them in numbers. But what needs to be understood.
Okay, let me stop there. Okay, first of all, they're not worried about their numbers. If they were, they'd be having children like crazy. Okay, that's a lie. Okay, now these white supremacist hate groups, sure, they believe in your garbage. Okay, but most white people, they're not worried about that. They don't even think about that. And what's this thing? Oh, they're worried they're going to be taken over. So it's got to be us against them. We just can't come together as people. We just can't love each other as people. What, you're going to settle the score because white supremacy, this happened back then, so we got to get revenge. Come on. Okay, this is all BS. Okay, this is all propaganda. All right? Now, birth rates are dropping in white people. They're dropping in black people. Okay? Around the world, birth rates are going down. Okay? Why? The world's changed. We can control whether we have children or not. And I guarantee you, if white people were really scared, like you say they were, they'd be pumping out kids left and right. Okay, but that's not happening. So are they really scared? And you say they're having children with melanated people to keep the white race going? This is all a contradiction. So if we're not 100% white, we're no longer white, then how are we preserving it? Getting with melanated people. And how is that racist? Anyway, I ain't going to listen to this no more. You can watch her video and it just, she talks slow and trying to think about what she's going to say. And it's all propaganda. It's all part of black supremacy. White people are dying out. They need us to live. And okay, whatever. Okay. If you want to believe that, go ahead. Okay. But we're really not concerned about numbers. Most people aren't. I know people talk about it. Oh, we got to have more children but we're just not. White people aren't. Black people aren't. And interracial relations are happening more often, so we're procreating more now than ever. So nobody's dying out. Nobody's, I would say it's more like a fusion. Okay? Anyway. But you're going to be faced with this propaganda. There's going to be people accusing you of being with that black woman because you're either fetishizing her, lusting after her, or trying to save the white race, which I didn't know white people couldn't have children anymore. I didn't know that. I don't know. My family, they're having children, and they're white. I don't know where they're getting that. This don't even make sense. If we're white supremacists, we would stay with white only and have white children. And if we were afraid of losing number, we just keep having children. Okay, so I don't buy into that. But okay. If you want to believe that, go ahead. All right, here we go. Here's another video.
Hey, I've tried it this way. I'm not going to only date black.
Okay, so I'm sick of this kind of like equivalency that people are trying to draw between black men dating interracially and black women dating interracially. Like, let's be real here, okay? Usually, when a black woman dates interracially, and I hate to say this, it's more like a last resort type of thing. Like if you ask the average black woman on the street, like, who do you prefer to date? I'm pretty sure I would put money on it that she would say black men. That is who she prefers to date first and foremost. Anything outside of that is kind of like a last resort.
Okay, I'm going to say, okay, and look, I'm going to say yes, this is true, but not with everybody, okay? Most black women want to be with a black man. It is what it is. I know those of us that love black women, it's going to hurt our feelings a little bit. It's okay. Okay, we'll make it through. Okay, we'll find that black woman that loves us. Okay, but for the most part, she's right. Okay, and are you strong enough to get rejected by the women you want to date? Do you love black women that much that you'll go through that to find that black woman that loves you? For me, oh yeah. My mentality is when I was dating, okay, most black women ain't going to date me because they want to be with a black man. Okay, fine. I'm going to find that black woman that does love me. But be aware, guys, okay? You might be that last resort, okay? You don't want to be the last resort. You want that black woman to love you because she loves you, okay? You got to find that woman. Because with some black women, they really want to be with a black man, but they'll go to you because they don't feel they could get that black man, so you're like a last resort. You look good on paper, you got a job, you're successful, but there's going to be tension because her heart really ain't with you. Okay? This is honest God truth. We got to face reality. Okay? You don't you don't get through it, okay, without facing reality. Okay? Of course we want to say, yeah, black women love white men and all, and that will build our ego, but when the truth hits, not so much. But that's okay. There are millions of black women. There are black women out there that only want to date white men. So don't let this get you down. But I'm telling you, you're going to run into women that, hey, they don't want a white guy. And they don't care how successful you are. They want that black man. And hey, I don't hate them for that. That's their business. And they're used to being with black men. So, but just be aware. Okay? But don't let it scare you. Be a man. Man up. Okay? Maybe she just don't know what a good white man is. So go to a black woman that will love you and accept you. Okay? Too easy. Let's continue.
I'm finding that I'm not really getting a lot of traction in my own group, so I'm going to have to look outside of my primary group or my primary preference to find love and companionship. Now let's flip it. Now, black men have always kind of communicated, and I'm talking about black men who are at the top of their potential, black men who are high earners, black men who are not struggling, right? I'm just going to use that as an example. Most of them, or a lot of them, choose mixed race, light skin, or non-black women to partner with. And if you ask, and I will put money on this, if you ask the average black man on the street, who do you prefer to date? Their go-to answer that I've heard just scaling the interwebs and data, they'll say, I'm open to all women. I don't have a preference, which means non-black women or exotic looking women. On top of that, black women have had to endure listening to music like hip hop that has blatantly communicated to us that the black male preference or gaze is oriented towards foreign women, women who are not from here, women who are non-black, right?
All right, let me stop right there. Okay, and that's true what she says too. Okay, so there might be black women that reject you because you're a white guy. Okay, because you're not their preference. Okay, but understand, black women are dealing with that too, because there are many black men that want to be with white women or Latinas or lighter skinned women and all that nonsense. Okay, and the world's going to change. And what it is, okay, is people gravitate to what they're used to. People gravitate to what they've seen their whole life. Okay? And there's a lot of black women that have been raised that white men are evil and white men are, scum of the earth. So they're not going to be attracted to you because of the propaganda. Look, let me give an example. Let's say, I love black women, right? Let's say, take a beautiful black woman. Okay, say I'm a young guy, and okay, I see Angela Bassett, back in the day. Very beautiful, very attractive, right? Now, if she's going harming my family, I'm not going to be attracted to her. I'm going to have anger. Okay? Now, that's what black women are going through, in my opinion. This is what I believe. A lot of them aren't attracted to white men because they're angry at white men. Because they looking at the past slavery, Jim Crow, and evil stuff white men have done. And they put white men in that box, and they're looking at you like with anger and emotions of hurt, anger. And you can't be attracted to somebody that you think is trying to destroy you. Does that make sense? I think that's where it's going. Ladies, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. I don't know. I don't read black women's minds. I can only analyze what I hear and kind of speculate. But I think it's the propaganda. And through time, when we could break down all that propaganda and all that conditioning, then it will be more acceptable to open up your options. As we move forward and see people as people, we can love each other and not live in the past, but live in the future. Live in the here and now and build a better future. What do you think? But I don't get mad at black women that say they're only attracted to black men. Well, that's what black women do, okay? And that's their business. You can't get mad at somebody for who they love. Just like it's not right for people to get mad at me because I love black women, right? Or I'm married to a black woman. So, we got to show the same respect, okay? But this is what you're going to face. And there are white men that'll run into a black woman that's not interested or maybe gets with them as a last resort. It don't work. And they say, well, black women, it'll never work. But they're not vetting right. They're not looking at the red flags. They're not, okay? Anyway, let's continue.
And we've listened to this and we've loved hip hop and we even bop to these songs.
Okay, let me stop. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, but you get my point, right? And I think that's where it's at. But look, I'm not trying to discourage white men dating black women. You need to. Okay? I encourage it. I mean, there are black women that will love you and you'll be amazed. Once you find that black woman that loves you, you'll be in paradise. Okay? But there are some that are going to reject you. That's okay. All right? That's what happens when you're searching for the woman of your dreams, okay?
Is Eve and her husband's 10.
Okay. All right, here's an interracial couple, Eve and her husband. 10-year anniversary, is that right? Let's hear this.
Today is Eve and her husband's 10-year wedding anniversary. And they recently had a kid too. So, of course, I went straight to the comments. And someone commented, "Dear single ladies, I know you wanted to marry a black man, but please," all caps, "keep your options open." Then I think it says the black wife effect. And you know what? I've said this on my TikTok before that, like, as of recently, I've been seeing a lot of black women telling other black women, like, you know what? You need to start dating outside your race. Keep your options open. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning, just don't only date your race. But the problem that I have, and I don't know if other black women have this same problem, is that I don't get approached by white men or men of other races outside of black. Sometimes Hispanic or Caribbean, but
All right, let me stop there. Okay, so you hear what the black women were saying, that, most black women want to be with black men, and, you know. Did I play that video, that woman that said she will. Ah, dang it. I think I deleted it. Okay. Anyway, but what she's saying is white men aren't approaching her. Maybe Hispanic every once in a while. But look at this young lady. She's attractive. Would you, if you're a single white guy, would you approach? I mean, and there's beautiful black women that are out there saying that. Well, white men ain't approaching. Like, they'll be open to it, but you're not approaching. You're not doing it. Huh? You know how many times I've heard black women say, well, Roadrunner, they stare, but they don't approach. I mean, this should, if you love black women, this should make you think you're not approaching, or not approaching enough. Okay?
I've never been out and been approached by a white guy who was interested in me.
And that's a shame. And there's a lot of white men that would love to date her. I'm telling you. But why aren't they approaching? See, a lot of white men aren't approaching. It's not because they don't want to date the black woman. It's that they don't believe the black woman is interested in them. I mean, that's really what it is. Because they listen to other, well, it's black men or nothing. Okay. Let me try to find that video, because I really want to show you this video. Ah, dang it. I'm going to have to search through it. Just bear with me a little bit. Okay.
Are the most.
Okay, not that one. Okay. I'm just going through it because I deleted it accidentally. Sorry, guys.
I'm starting to see so
Okay, not that one.
how they ask what hill you're willing.
Okay, this is the one. Did I show it? I'm kind of in mindset. But listen to this. She's saying she will die on the hill.
You know how they ask what hill you're willing to die on? I'm gonna tell y'all what hill I'm willing to die on. I will go to my grave, and I don't care if I die at 100, 110, 150. I will go to my grave single and alone with 50 million cats before I get with any man that is not black. And I'm serious on that. I put that on everything I love in this world. Y'all can save this video for if you ever see me with a non-black man. That's how much I love black men. That's how much I believe in being with a black person so that you can understand each other the best as well as build a black community. Y'all could do what y'all want. I don't care who anybody else dates, but for me, it is going to be a black man now and forevermore.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just say a few things. Hey, do you? You love who you love. And I believe her. I believe that's who she's going to become. She'll have 50 million cats and be alone if that's what it is. I believe it. I do. Okay? But let me make this point, okay? Marriages between black women and white men last longer than black men and black women. Even though the black man's going to understand you more, your marriage ain't going to last as long, statistically. Okay? It's not about what the man understanding you, it's about the man that loves you. Okay? Because you can love somebody and not know what they've been through. Okay? And you can know what somebody's been through and not care about it. Okay? So just because they understand you don't mean they love you. Okay? And build with a black man. Well, if you find a good one, you could build something. But only 26% of black women are married. So I'm just saying. But you do you. Okay? But I want you to see that. Okay? And I'm not going in on her. There's nothing wrong with her feeling that way. Okay? She has every right to. Okay? She loves the men in her community. Okay? You do you. Okay? But the thing of it is, okay, is you're going to run into this. Okay? But it's worth the fight. It's worth going through what you got to go through. Okay? And let me tell you, okay, I'm going to speak on my experience. Okay? In my life, okay, when my life really started getting good, when I started being blessed, is when I married a black woman. My wife, Sandy. Okay? And if you looked at my life before I married my wife, you would understand, okay, how amazing black women are. Okay, how valuable black women are. See, and with the other black women in my life, I was turning my life around. I was seeing my faults, okay? And these women weren't pointing them out, saying, yeah, you're messing up here. No, it's because of the love they had. It's the example that they set. And you know what? A lot of the black women and their love, their character rubbed off on me. Yeah, can you be influenced? Can a man be influenced by a woman? Damn straight. Okay? Black women have taught me, you know, what real love is. Black women have taught me what character is and how to improve. Black women are probably the most resilient group of people on the planet. Okay? And with that, and black women, I would say, are the most traditional. Black women are the most spiritual. So many black women of faith, you know, and that rubbed off on me. You know, my father said, son, you got a heart. You got a big heart. That's your strength and weakness. Well, that's how black women are. They got a big heart. It's their strength and weakness. That's what I got in common. But newsflash, who influenced me to be like that? Newsflash, who changed my life? Who helped me build a better life? I look along and there was a number of black women along the way that impacted my life, impacted my faith, impacted, you know, me spiritually and emotionally. Why do you think when I talk about, show cartoon pictures about my life, I get emotional? Yes, because there's a lot of love there. Yes, because I look back in my life and how black women have had a big impact. And if you see my life, you would have no question why the black woman is my preference. And this was long before I ever had an intimate moment with a black woman. My love for black women is real. It is true. It is pure. And I would cut the world off that tried to stop me. See, and my parents knew not to challenge it. They knew to get out of the way. And my father, being a man of faith, he knew something was going on. He knew God was working in my life because he's seen black women in my life improving my life, even dating in high school. He could see the change. My parents today, they thank my wife for marrying me. Let that sink in. And I'm telling you, you got to have the courage to have the blessing. You got to have the courage to open up your options. And I tell you, and that's what this channel's about. It's about love. It's about opening up your options. It's about showing black women love and respect. Okay? There are good and bad black women. Okay? I'm not saying they're all perfect. But damn it, they are the best option. And my life validates that. I got a good, strong family, an awesome wife. When it comes to earnings, I'm at the top 10 to 20% in America because of my wife bringing out the best in me. Where I can do my job, where I could, the time in the army where her love for me kept me alive, kept me going. I was able to retire, have a pension, have a career, and then move on and get a job where I learned a skill where I can make good money and do good. Where I could improve in my life with my faith. That woman at the church impacted my life. That girlfriend in high school impacted my life. These women turned my life around with love and compassion. And people say, well, you talk like black women walk on water. Well, the impact they had in my life, I'd say that's better than walking on water. But you know what? I thank God that I could see the beauty. I thank God that my parents didn't try to distract me away from that blessing. Oh, but it's a fetish, right? 32 years of marriage, got kids, grandkids. All my kids are college educated. My oldest daughter, she's been married 10 years, got 2 kids. Her and her husband are doing better than I am. And that says a lot, really. But they're highly educated, master's degrees, doctorates. But you know what? You know why that happened? I'd love to say, it's because I was a good father, good husband, and okay? I was a part of it, but without the love from the black woman, it wouldn't have been this good. I'm just going to say it. And that's power. So, anyway, So you're wondering why black women are my preference? People ask me that all the time. Well, what about Asian women? What about white women? What about Hispanic women? What about them? It's the black woman that impacted my life. It's the black woman that helped me improve my life and do better. And you know what it was? And I think back about it, I approached my wife. I didn't just stare at her, I approached her. And though my words weren't suave, though I didn't say the right things and I was stuttering and trying to get the words out, sweating, nervous, my heart racing, but I pushed forward. I did it. Though I thought I was going to get rejected because I knew I sounded crazy. I knew I was so nervous. But my wife thought it was cute. She knew I was into her because I was so nervous. And she talks about it to this day. You know, she said, I remember you came up to me, it was so cute, and you were nervous, and she's like, I just wanted to hug you right there. When I thought, man, I'm looking stupid at not saying the right thing, or it's not coming out. But you never know till you try. And it don't matter how many black women like me or what they think about me. It just, I know that's the best option. And when I prayed for a wife, you better believe it was a black woman, and it was deliberate. I went straight to God. And I told my God everything I wanted in a wife. And let me tell you something. One thing about my faith, okay? I got a lot of work to do, okay? I got a lot of flaws. But that verse that says, he who asks not has not. Well, I ask. I'm good at asking. Okay? That's one thing I think I got down. I can ask. God, please do this. Please help me. Please give me this. And God blessed me with a good wife. Though I don't deserve my wife, and I'll admit it. But I'm grateful to have her. But anyway, guys, I do believe this. I believe the more love we show to black women and the love we see from black women will heal our nation. I believe this. Okay? I'm not talking crazy. I've seen black women and how black women have worked in people's lives. Okay, and I've seen black women turn the men's in their life around, whether it be a black guy or white guy. I've seen black women do this. Okay, and the thing of it is, you have a black woman that loves you, and you do right as a man. You're going to be blessed. And look, and I believe God's in this. And black women have been abused for so much that those of us that show them love and respect, we're going to be blessed. Those that hate on black women and exploit them, they're going to feel it. They're going to have a curse put on them. Okay? And I'm not saying you got to go marry a black woman, and you love and marry who you want. Okay? But you know, it's detrimental we show black women love and respect, whether we're dating them or not, or married to them or not. Okay? But I'm here to tell you, okay? Black women have improved my life like you wouldn't believe. My wife has poured love into me and motivated me and built my confidence where I believed I could do anything. And it wasn't my ego. I didn't think I was all that. She just got me to have faith and believe. And you know, ever since I married my wife, it was like everything turned out okay. And you know, it wasn't perfect. There were ups and downs, and you know, along the way, but I just always felt like it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. And that's because of my wife and her faith. Anytime I was, it's going to be all right. And that's true power. That's love. And really, I think interracial relationships, you know, some people believe the more interracial marriages we have, the more we'll love each other and come together more. I say yes and no. Okay. I think overall it will benefit because we'll get to know each other more, black and white people, which we need to come together. Um, you know, and I look at my own life, you know, with me and my wife. Both our families came together because me and my wife came together. I mean, it's like our families are one big family. You know? Marriage can be a blessing. Marriage can bring families together. Marriage, you know, at times have brought nations together. Okay? It's not always just bringing a man and woman together. You know, sometimes you bring families together. And sometimes you're that example to others. And you know, me and my wife have influenced other people. They see how we love each other. And there's people out there that want to open up their options. You know, they want to date out. But sometimes they feel guilty because they feel like they're letting their racial group down because they're with someone of a different color, which is stupid. You live for you, okay? And I think in our nation, I think when it comes to people and race and ethnicity, I don't think we should live in the collective like that. I think we should live more as individuals. Choose our own path. You love who you love. If she's black or Chinese, that's your business. You do you. You know, I think the times we should be in the collective as a nation, as Americans, we should come together and, you know, for the greater good for our country. But in your personal life, I think you go where you're loved and celebrated. And sometimes it's not your color. I'm just going to say it. I'm telling you. But anyway, but I think the key is black women in our nation. I really do. Black women have been abused. Black women have been exploited. Black women are still being used and exploited. And people say, well, yeah, white supremacy. It's happening in their own community also. Okay? We need to do right. Okay? We need to have accountability. Okay? If you have a flaw, don't fix it. Okay? I'm not ashamed that I had to go back and fix some things. I'm ashamed I didn't get it right the first go around, but hey, you can always self-correct, right? And that's what life's all about. Improvement. And you know what? I had to do better for my family. Because when I do better, my wife does better. My children do better. Okay? But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Someone said, where's Indiana Mom? I don't know. I haven't seen her in a while. But it's good to see you guys. Okay? But I'm going to be doing this, and look. And here's my thought process. Okay? Whether I got 500 people watching or 2 people watching, I'm going to do what I do. Okay? I'm going to show love and respect to the black woman. Okay? I'm going to show love and respect to my wife and family. Okay? I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to continue to fight that good fight. Okay? And you know what? I'm in the fight whether I'm popular or not. Okay? I want to be a blessing. Okay? And if that means I only reach one or two people, so be it. Okay? I'm okay with that. And you know what? And it makes me feel good when people say, you know what, Roadrunner? That video you made was really uplifting. Thank you. Well, good. Mission accomplished. That's what I want to do. Okay? All right? And, you know, and when I share my story, it's not just story time. It's my testimony. Okay? But anyway, don't let none of this get you down. You love black women, you approach a black woman. Tell her how you feel. A lot of black women out there that will date white men, they're just waiting for you to make your move. Okay? But do it respectfully. Don't talk about her body. Don't talk up. All right? It's okay to say she's beautiful. Okay? Be respectful. Okay? And don't go tell her, oh, yeah, I only date black women. Don't say that. Look, I was that way, but I didn't go around telling black women that. You know why? Because they're going to think you're weird. They're going to think you got some kind of fetish with black women. And look, with me, it wasn't that. I just love black. I felt love from black women. I could see the character. I could see how beautiful they are. Inside and out. You know, you approach her. You say, well, you're into black women? Look, I'm into you. I think you're beautiful and I want to get to know you. What? Answer it that way. Because some white guys, they make me say, oh, I've always loved black women. Then she's going to think, oh, yeah, here we go. A fetishizer. and it might not be that at all. You're just being honest. Okay? Once the relationship's real, you can tell your life story to her. She knows you, right? Anyway, guys, you have a good weekend. Okay, I'll see you guys again this week sometime. Okay, I'm gonna work on some shorts, maybe some short videos here and there. Okay, but I thank you guys for everything. Okay, I know this YouTube ain't gonna last forever. But every time I come up here, I enjoy it. I love talking to you guys. I love your input. Okay, and most of all, don't be afraid to open up your options. Don't be afraid to go where you're loved and celebrated. You don't owe nobody nothing. Okay, black women, you don't owe the black community nothing. White men either. You don't owe white people a damn thing. You do you. Okay? Don't be afraid to open up your options. Because look, if you stay race loyal because they guilt you into it and your relationship don't work, they ain't going to be there to comfort you and apologize. Okay? Don't let other people control your life. Okay? Alright? You go for that best option. Whatever that option is. Okay? Do you. Live for you. Okay? Alright, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to say a prayer and then close this live. And I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Okay? Alright, let me just say a prayer real quick. God, thank you so much for allowing me to do YouTube, Lord. And thank you for everybody that comes up and watches these videos, Lord. And I pray that you'll let me be a blessing. Share my life story, Lord. And give me a voice to tell the world how amazing and beautiful black women are, Lord. let me have a voice to talk about their character, Lord. The big heart black women have, Lord. And to share my testimony and the black women that have touched my life and helped me improve, Lord. And I thank you for everything. Okay, I thank you for my family, my children. I thank you for everybody here tonight, Lord. And please let me be a blessing. And Lord, make us good men. Those of us that love black women, give us the strength to love black women the right way, to protect them, to uplift them, to tell the truth and stand up to lies. Lord, and most of all, bless everybody here tonight, them and their families, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I wanted to talk to you about this, and I know I talk a lot about my life, but the reason I do is because I want you to know, how powerful true love is and how black women have been a blessing to me. Okay? And I feel like, I want to be a blessing, and I want to be a blessing to black women because black women have been a blessing to me. And, out of the 4 women, the only one, that I talk to is my wife, but the other ladies, I seen my old high school girlfriend, a while back, and, it was a blessing because I got to apologize and she forgave me. She said, and it just relieved stress. It felt nice. The woman at church, she passed on, her and her husband. Her husband was, one of the deacons, and he had a great voice. You know, and they're just a loving people. They're friends with my family, and that woman was there comforting me when I was hurting. And sometimes, even in a Christian church, people will judge you. Okay, uh, and easy to point fingers. But when you get someone that uplifts you and lets you know that you can fix it, okay, that means a lot. Okay. But anyway, guys, you have a good night. God bless you and your families. And okay, I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you next Saturday for sure. I might go live Friday. I'm not sure. See what's going on. But I might change it. If I change it, I change it from Saturday to Friday. Okay. Thank you so much, By the Book. Okay. But you guys, you have a good weekend. Okay. And if you guys ever need anything, don't be afraid to email me. Okay. People email me and say, Roadrunner, can you pray for me, Roadrunner? I'm going through this. Can you pray for me? Can you talk to me? I do have a Google number. I've talked to people. A lot of times when women ask to talk to me, I give it to Sandy because she's a black woman and it's better than black woman to black woman. I'm a caring white guy, but I don't know, some things I don't understand. But my wife's been a blessing with that. And you don't see her all the time, but she helps me with my channel, helps me with my artwork and, that song and stuff. But my wife is very much a part of my channel. And, and when she does come on, it's awesome. Maybe here in the near future we could do I don't know, a show with me and my wife and talk about, our interracial life or some of the things we went through, whether it be funny, serious, and how we got through it. And you know what? It's worth the fight. It is. Fight that good fight. Okay? The black woman is well worth it. Any problems you go through, any hatred people direct towards you, the black woman's worth it. Yes, and they're worth going through a beatdown too. Sometimes that happens. But anyway, but I just want to show my love, and I just want you guys to know I'm thankful for you, okay? And I don't take you for granted at all, and I'm grateful you took the time to listen to my show. And, anything you want me to do, just email me. I know people have been sending me videos, and, I pick out some here and there. But if there's a topic you want me to cover, it could be, it can be a celebrity thing too. I know. I try to keep it within the Swirl to investment, and I don't want to deal with politics. Heck with that crap. So I don't ask me to talk about politics. No. But, if you want me to do a show on what's going on in the world, dating, marriage, but anyway, guys, you have a good night. God bless you and your family. I'll see you next Saturday. Look out for some videos. I'm going to do some videos this week. There's some stuff I want to put out. Okay. There's some shorts I want to make. I'm working on making a song. If you got any ideas for I think the one sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll mix it in. I need to do some new intros and kind of change it up. But anyway, I'm going to be taking a trip soon. I'm not telling you where I'm going, but anyway, you'll know when I'm there, and you'll probably see the live show as I'm coming home. Okay? I really don't put out where I'm going because of weirdos out there that would just love to roll up on the Roadrunner and do God knows what. And I don't want to walk out of an airport and get sucker punched or something stupid. Or some people might be crazy. You never know. I've seen people, content creators, that have been unalived, because of some people don't like their content, or because of a beef, okay? And I know some people have been asking me, hey, let's have a get together, and I would love to do that. I'd love to meet everybody, but I can't. Because of safety reasons, especially if I'm traveling with my wife, I don't ever want her to be in any kind of danger. So, But anyway, maybe if I ever get famous and I can hire bodyguards. Anyway. Alright. Yeah, I gotta stay vigilant. I know me moving to Texas, and some people want me to show the new house, and that'd be wonderful, but the wrong people figure out where I live, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to tell people where I'm moving. I'm not going to do that. Texas is a big state, okay? I could be in Dallas. I could be in Houston, San Antonio, Amarillo. Who knows? Might be in another state too. But I do love Texas. Yeah, we're going to Texas. Anyway, guys, have a good night. God bless you and your families. I'll see you next Saturday. Okay? Don't be afraid. Get out of that comfort zone. Go where you're loved and celebrated. Open up your options. Swirl to investment. God bless.